unit.
So now if I was in a different unit, I would have the patch that I was in and then the patch that I went to combat with.
Yes.
So I could have two different patches on.
Correct.
And now what would happen if you went to combat with more than one unit? Would you get the most recent?
Usually it'd be the most recent. Soldiers are actually authorized to wear whichever one they want. Sometimes the brigade will designate one to wear. For example, this one, the unit we fell under was the 11th MP Brigade, and they have a patch that looks kind of like an axe over there. But since I deployed with my home unit, and this was my first deployment with them, I wear this patch. And that was designated by the brigade commander from New Jersey. So I'm not actually authorized to wear the other patch. If that had been my second deployment, I would be, or third or more than first, I would be allowed to wear the other patch.
Okay.
But this is the patch I wear, and this is the patch I'm authorized to wear.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I've learned quite a bit about not only the uniform, but just about Iraq itself. Welcome back. Today I'm joined by Mr. David Field, and we're going to be continuing our discussion on the personal ties that he had before being deployed to Baghdad, Iraq. So Mr. Field, here we have some cards that you showed me. Do you care to explain the significance of that?
Yeah, right before I went to Iraq, I was actually training, and so I was actually away from my family for 6 months before that, which was even more difficult for me, but it's what I had to do. I was out in Arizona, and you have to understand, for a National Guardsman, we're civilians most of our life, and the Army is almost like an extra thing, almost. And for me, I'm a gymnastics coach, and I volunteered as a coach out there in Arizona. It was a very small gym, so the community was extremely small, smaller than what we have here in Piscataway.
So they were a pretty close community as well.
Oh yes. Everyone knew everyone else. It was that small. And the only thing out there was the military installation, and they had a small high school. And this gym wasn't a part of the high school, but I had a lot of kids come to it. And I went out there as a coach, and it was weird because these girls never actually met a lot of people from the East Coast. It was almost new to them. And so the techniques and everything I was teaching them was, to them, very new, very difficult. It was a new way of doing things. And I was there for the training for about four months, and got to know them really well, and told them why I was there, obviously, and that at this point I had known I was going to go to Iraq, or else it was a really good chance I was going to go. So I told them, of course, I got the same sad faces that I got when I told my history class here, for example. And they, on the last day, got me a big cake, and we celebrated everything, and a couple of these cards they made me go in. This one, the whole team signed and wrote little messages to me. Some people kind of impromptu wrote on napkins about Coach David. Another girl, Kaylin, is this one. She typed stuff up. You have the Olympic rings at the bottom there, and she was. I remember her very well because she was one of those, I'm going to talk back to you no matter what. Really, she didn't mean to do it, but it was just in her nature to do it. But I helped her a lot with a certain technique, and she actually learned it really well, so I guess she was really appreciative. And I actually carried these letters with me, and even before I brought them here, they were in the same backpack I had in Iraq. And I carried them with me, and every so often I kind of missed them, and then just bring them out and I would read them. And it would kind of remind me why I'm there, and I can keep doing this, because eventually I will come back. So these letters actually were a part of something that helped me really get through the deployment.
So not only were you breaking a connection, you were forging a stronger connection.
Yes.
Because it reminded you of home. It reminded you of all the things you did before going to Iraq.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate way of looking at it. I actually have not been back to Arizona. I'm probably going to end up going there in a few months, but I have not been back to see them, and I'm looking forward to going because I did miss them, and like I miss the kids over here. But yeah, these letters definitely had me connected to this world over there while I was in like a totally different world over there.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here. Thank you very much for this entire interview. I just want to say how much of an honor it is to not only be in your presence, but get all this information that you've given me. It shed a lot of information on, shed a lot of light on what the military does and what our goals are in Baghdad, Iraq. So thank you again for not only your actions, but the actions of the U.S. military. They're out there every day protecting our rights as U.S. citizens. So I can't say enough how much I'm appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.